because our next guest at one time was actually an employee of this company of AM 13 Under the Zone. And we just kind of let him drift away, drifted away to the larger, more lucrative and attention-grabbing venue that is network television. But we'll always have a special place in our hearts, not only for his time as our sideline reporter on the Longhorn football broadcast, but going all the way back. My first contact with Brian Jones was actually when he was a senior linebacker at the University of Texas in 1990, and I was the studio anchor on the Longhorn Radio Network. And Brian Jones, on a post-game interview, told then play-by-play voice Brad Sham about their season-opening win over Penn State. It was just good to get out there and hit somebody of another color. And Brad said, "You mean jersey color, right? Jersey color." Said, yeah, that. Brian Jones is with us now. You remember that day? You remember that beating Penn State there that day back in 1990?
Man, I'll never forget that day. Come on. How can I forget that day? No one gave us a shot. We weren't ranked, and nor should anyone have given us a shot, considering the season we were embarking from, 5-6 the previous season, and we go up there, and that started to shock the nation tour. But I don't recall saying hitting someone of a different color. But yes, that is exactly what I meant, a different color jersey. And what a heck of a game. It was a physical game. Craig, I remember the opening kickoff, and I'm sure you recall them running the ball back to about the 2-yard line. Mm-hmm. And the first play, I hit Sam Gash. They run an ISO there on the goal line. My whole right side went numb. And you just had to stay out there, baby. They ended up scoring, but we ended up winning the game. But it was a physical affair is the point I was trying to make. And we had lost to him the year before with Blair Thomas, who had gone on to the NFL, their running back. And then you had Leroy Thompson and Sam Gash in that backfield. And it was so much fun to shut that big old crowd up there in Happy Valley, man. And great to join you. I tell you what I look forward to, Craig. And people are going to have to drift away after my loud ass gets off your radio show. But I love when we show Texas highlights and I get to hear, "Touchdown, Texas! Touchdown, Texas!" I said, "That's my boy. That's my man." And folks, Craig is telling you all the good stuff. He won't tell you the bad stuff when I was sideline. Actually, I wasn't even sideline reporter yet. My first gig was carrying the parabolic mic, kids. Just remember that. You talk about starting at the bottom. Now we here. I was the dude on the sideline with that little satellite dish. That was my travel partner wherever we went. And I remember our former producer, Bill, oh, bless his heart, rest in peace, kept telling me, "Would you shut the hell up?" Because they couldn't hear the game broadcast. All they could hear was me yelling at my fellow Longhorns out there on the field, trying to coach them up. And unfortunately, I wasn't using ideal language for the broadcast.
Did you ever? I can remember there was a game in College Station, and Reveille actually took a nip at you, and you said, and actually kind of leaked over the air, "That little bitch just bit me." I remember that.
I do recall that little, yes, tried to nip me, man. Because I just put the mic up. I was just having a little fun with the Aggies, and they don't smile too much because we always whooping their ass. And then they tried to sick Reveille on me, that little rat with a bunch of hair. That's what it looked like. Get a big dog. Get a real dog. I got Husky and a Malamute. Get you a real dog, Aggies.
The string of memories also extends to and including some of the best stuff was the Texas OU weekend.
Oh, because wow. I almost got fired. Thank you, Dusty Black. Thank you, Mama Check Writer, Lise Hudson.
Yeah, it almost happened. Brian was up there, and we were doing the show. We used to do it there at the Hofbrau on the West End.
Yep.
And it was great because there was a lot of foot traffic, people walking by, and there was a lot of, flipping off and this and that. And you were more than eager to engage in the conversation with the fans that were walking by. There was that sort of thing. And then you actually dropped an F-bomb on the air. And we said, when we got to the break, we said, you can't do that, man. You can't do that. It's FCC rules. You can't do that. We come out of the break and we said, Brian said he was sorry about that. And you actually said, no, I'm not. And I'm going to say it again right now. You ready? Right now. F. And he didn't say F. He just said OU. We hit the dump button in time, but there was
you don't forget anything, do you?
I remember the most memorable things. I can tell you that. I remember that. I also remember this, and I'll bet you remember this. This was after you left us, and you were at the time working for Fox Sports, I guess. And this, of course, was the national championship year, 2005. And moments after Vince Young crosses the goal line, moments after, I say 35 years in the waiting and 8 years in the building under Mac Brown, the Texas Longhorns have won college football's national champions. Moments after that, in the postgame, we get off the air. I'm walking, that one press box elevator opens up. You were on your way back up. You see me and you bear hug me, almost broke a rib, and bear hug me, and you look at me and go, how about that? And I look at you straight faced and I said, it's interesting. Back in 2003, after we lost 65-13 OU, you said this team will never win under Mac Brown. Shut up, man! You said. we had a good time. We had a good time. We
had a good time. I was waiting for VY to get there and take over. That's why I said that, man.
I know that, and I'm always grateful to you because you were always very, very generous. You know, when my son Andy first started spotting, he was 13, 14 years old. And he always remembers is there. You come up to the broadcast booth in the Cotton Bowl there at Texas OU, and you've got a turkey leg about as long as your arm, and you're just diving into it. And Andy, youthful guy, he just looks over at you. He's kind of amazed by it, and you're just chomping away. And you stop, and you look at him, and you go, "Turkey leg?" And you offer that. He's like, "Okay, you were always."
You have to go Captain Caveman with your stay fair, baby. You got to get your turkey leg. You got to get your corn dog. Top it off with a funnel cake. Man, that was a great time. But unfortunately, we did witness some of the worst defeats in that ball game during my sideline days. So those were rough, but more than made up for it when they won the national title. But I just got to say, man, I learned so much from you and Shonik, man. I had a blast. You guys helped foster where I am now. And unbeknownst to you, there's so many things I've taken from you, Craig. You're such a professional, and I borrowed from you as for certain terms and just the way you've gone about your business. And you guys, I can't appreciate and thank you enough for helping me learn how to excel in this business. And you still allowed me to be me, but you did help temper me somewhat. And I'm even all these years later so thankful that I got to start the business with some guys such as y'all. And you're one of the best. And congrats on your Hall of Fame status. Is more than deserving. And once again, love hearing your calls. Anytime we get a chance to shine the light on you and your calls and our Longhorns, it's a treat for me sitting there in that studio.
Well, that's very
and
kind.
You did bring up the fact that I used to go drag guys out of the shower post game. I didn't care. I have conducted more naked interviews than anybody.
No doubt. And you'll have to. You say I remember everything. I was trying to remember whether it was Lubbock as a freshman in 01 or Chapel Hill in 02. In both cases, Cedric Benson had big games. And we're trying to get him, and we were told we were going to have him for post-game. And then we were told somebody else that was down there in the locker room with you, one of our liaisons down there, was told, no, he's already in the shower by then. And when you heard that, I think you saw red at that point, and you said, hold on. And this is during a commercial break, folks. It wasn't on the air, but we hear him. We hear boom, boom, boom. You hear this headset, and the headset's off, but you hear the shower in the background because the area where we did the interviews was not far from it. And we just hear at the top of his lungs, Cedric, get your naked ass out here.
Hey, That's broadcasting 101. That's what I learned from the Moody College of Communication. That's how you grab an interviewee, man. It was whatever. And it was fun. And Bianco and I would always go at it like, no, I don't want that guy. He had half a tackle. Give me this guy over here. And so I just go grab guys, man.
And you did it. And Cedric, you did it. And Cedric came out because they all respected you. You know, even as, you know, every now and then you'd have an unhinged moment here or there, but they respected you. And that was what was really cool. So my question to you is this, and we're visiting with Brian Jones, a lifetime Longhorn, and he did a talk show on this station back in the day. I know you enjoyed that as well. And then, and then, of course, our sideline reporter on the Longhorn Radio Network, now with CBS. How much fun is doing football commentary on television?
Dude, I am having a blast. I've been so blessed. I was blessed when I worked there with you guys, and we were colleagues at 1300 The Zone. I've been so blessed at CBS Sports, and it's just wonderful. The guys I get an opportunity to work with, I think it's more comedy than sports, man. It is a treat. We added Aaron Taylor to the mix on Saturdays this year, and that's even brought more joy to the broadcast. A producer just gives us so much freedom, and they want our input, and that's what I love about it. You know, they still have to rein us in at times. Being former athletes, we can get a little loose, but it's a blessing. It is truly, you know, a blessing. And people always ask me, "Did you always want to do this?" And to a certain extent, yeah. And I just remember when I first started over 1300 The Zone, and I was going to a UT basketball game. I remember one of our listeners came up to me, this older white gentleman, and he said, "Boy, you got some good bull, you know the rest." I was like, okay, I will leverage that, baby. And that's what I've tried to do, Craig, just maintain who I am through and through. And I remember a good friend of mine, I love him to death, he gave me a book a long time ago, How to Be a Statesman. I said, man, you must be crazy. I ain't no dang statesman. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be professional, and I'm going to do my homework and my research, but I'm going to have a dang good time doing it. I'm not here to be the, you know, the educated professorial guy. I love having a good time, as you know, and so that's how I convey and present the information that I share to our audience. And you're going to have those that don't like it, fine, and you're going to have those that do. And unfortunately, you know, I don't have an Indo voice. I'm from West Texas, and for some reason that loudness, I call it passion, comes out because I love college football. And last week was a great indication, just being there on site where you were a few weeks ago in Ann Arbor for the Michigan USC game, and being amongst the crowd. So whether we're on site or we're in studio, I just love it. I love being around it, and it just brings something out of all of us who have played this great, wonderful game. And although it's changed over the years, it's still a beautiful sport. And to have the opportunity and to be involved as long as I have and come up the ranks, and I'm blessed, I'm beyond blessed, to tell you the truth, and so grateful for the opportunity.
Fill in the blank here. The best. I'm not asking for poll rankings. I'm asking for Brian Jones' opinion. The best team in college football right now is?
I go with the number one team in the land, and I look at how they're playing on defense. We had this conversation on our show last night, Inside College Football, the best defense in the SEC, and Texas is tied with Tennessee, I believe, and Georgia's right there as well. But going on the road and knocking off Michigan in the fashion in which they did, 80 yards rushing in the last two ball games since that Texas defeat, they've gained 300 and almost 300, 290 something last week versus USC. So that's not easy to do. What they're giving up, about 5 points per game, holding ULM to 111 yards, not taking anything away from Tennessee and what they did on the road versus OU. But I think it's Texas right now. And are they going to be challenged? Yes. They're going to get challenged this weekend because Jeff Levy wants to run the rock. And they got a mouthful of him a year ago in that loss versus OU. and they're going to come in and want to run the rock. They've got a new starting quarterback in this Van Buren kid, and so he's going to use his legs when opportunities are there. But that rush defense is going to get tested more and more. I love the way the secondary flies around. They were just superb in that Michigan ball game. And you can say, well, you look at Michigan's quarterback, they're not that great. True. But you still have to go out there and make plays. So I'm going to say it's Texas as we currently sit here, but bigger tests are coming down the road.
No doubt. Do you like the 12-team playoff?
Love it. I've been a big proponent. I've been advocating for them to expand from 4 to 8 or 12. I would have been fine with 8, 12, great. It's interesting. You hear college football fans upset about and crying and wanting more football during the offseason. Now we have it. And now the argument will be, well, these matchups, they won't be sufficient enough. They won't be dramatic enough. Quit lamenting the fact that you're getting what you want, which is more football. We didn't have, not every contest in the 14 playoff was compelling. I mean, there have been some drubbing. Right. I remember what Alabama did to Michigan State. What was it, 49-0?
Yeah.
And early in the I think that was the first year of the college football playoff. And you've had others where Notre Dame and Clemson both, or Notre Dame for sure, has been waxed in the playoffs. So I love the fact we're going to have more football. And what's even more cool is you're going to have games at the home site of certain teams. Can you imagine? Let's say, God forbid, Texas doesn't win the SEC and they don't get the first round bye. They can have a home game here in DKR, man. That is cool for playoff atmosphere. I love it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I listen, I was going to be okay if they wanted to go to 16 and not have any buys and then let the top 8 have home games. Have it on campus. I would have been okay with that. All right, I want to ask you one other thing as well. If there is a dark horse this year that not only can get in the playoff, but can make a run, maybe get to the semifinal, maybe the national championship. If there's a dark horse, or at least a program that folks aren't really discussing in great length, who do you think that would be?
Wow, what a wonderful question. There's so many in that group of 5 right now, especially JMU, what they did to the aforementioned Mac Brown last week, posting 70 on them. And I'm still hanging my hat on Boise State. Memphis was the bell cow a week ago until they go and lose to Navy. What a wonderful job Blake Horvath did at quarterback for the midshipmen. But this Ashton Jeanty, if he's not on your Heisman list, he should be, because he is an all-purpose wonder there for Boise. And they've got a tough one versus Washington State and this John Mateer who's tearing it up. Texas Tech folks know about his game. So I'm leaning towards Boise. A close loss at Oregon, losing by 3 to Dylan Gabriel and those guys. Washington State comes to town this weekend. So if they can get that one and roll on to a Mountain West championship of back-to-back years, I think they could be in that number and they could cause some noise, because we've seen them in the past. History has shown us that they don't care. They have a little time to prepare. Oklahoma, they can come up and jump up and beat you. And that's a team with name recognition, because they have gone anywhere on this planet to play anybody, big boy or not. They don't care. And so they have that in their back pocket. And I think that would be my dark horse.
He's Brian Jones. You see him on television. He sports a beard thicker and wider than Santa Claus.
We call that Blacker Claus, Craig.
I love it. Hey, it's great to visit with you. I appreciate you taking some time. Maybe we'll do it again when we get to playoff time.
My man, I love you to death. Thank you for all you've done to help further my career, and appreciate you. And I can't wait to hear this weekend. Touchdown, Texas.
I hope we're calling those. Thank you, BJ.
Hook 'em.